So an investigation has been launched after yet another crisis on a cruise ship, folks. Federal health officials say that more than 170 people became infected with the Norovirus on the Crown Princess ship, which recently arrived near Los Angeles. Senior correspondent Adam Housley is live in our West Coast newsroom on this. So, Adam, this happened in the middle of a long cruise?
Well, actually, kind of towards the beginning of it. It's a month-long cruise that's heading across the Pacific, and really, it's a few days into it, passengers started to feel sick and were required to go to their quarters as they were heading out on this cruise that eventually would head to Hawaii and Tahiti, but it stopped here in Los Angeles. We're told the numbers, if you look at the overall numbers, really less than 5% were sick, but still enough that had people very concerned. 158 passengers, 11 crew members reported having the illness. There are more than 4,000 people on board, counting crew members. Everyone was treated on board. Thankfully, nobody required hospitalization, but while this was all going on, here's what one passenger said became a common sight.
There were so many people walking around with little buckets of sanitizer and wiping down walls, and every time somebody got from a table, they were wiping down the table and wiping down the chairs.
Of course, norovirus is highly contagious, can be picked up from countertops, from someone being nearby, food, basically by touching surfaces. So it's very contagious, and you might imagine that's why they took this very seriously, Martha.
Yeah, so that's not a fun vacation, to say the very least. So what is next for this cruise?
Well, they had a little bit of a delay here in Los Angeles, if you might imagine. In fact, passengers who had to stay in hotels, that kind of thing, were given onboard credit, 20% off their next cruise, so they were compensated. But it's back on the seas. It left last night around 9 o'clock here locally in Southern California out of San Pedro, headed down to the Mexican Riviera. That's where it goes next. And it'll be there for, of course, for the next week or so, then eventually head across the Pacific. What's interesting, though, this is the same cruise ship that back in April, the Crown Princess, on a 7-day cruise from here in Southern California, had problems of norovirus back then as well. So, Martha, they're doing the best they can, they say, and they're following what they say is the CDC protocol for the cleaning of ships, and they say they follow that to a T. And, of course, the CDC has also opened an investigation, Martha.
That's some rough seas there. Adam, thank you very much.